Hello everyone, welcome back. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about shooting the iron sights of your AR-15 today. So even though this Palmetto AR has a red dot mounted on it, I basically I kept it off today, and what I did is I'm using the front sight post and the rear ghost ring. Okay, and one of the things I wanted to point out in this video is if you look at these on the front sight post, right? You see that there's these two leaves that come up right on the sides, on the side of that post. Those two leaves are very important because that's basically that gives you the ability to anchor to the sides of this ghost ring, so that your front sight post is consistently in the center. Put the gun down. So this paper's soaked. It's been raining all day today. So if you look at, trying to rip this paper. Okay, so if we look at this, there's our ghost ring, right? All right, these are the two leaves on the side. You want to anchor these consistently to the same spot, okay? Which will ensure that your front sight post is in the middle. Okay, and it's not, flooring, because if you're just, when you sight in your rifle, if you're not basing it on where these two leaves are, on these two leaves being positioned, touching that ghost ring, if you're not doing that, what that means is that post in the middle is not going to be consistently in the center. You're not going to know if, because if it's here or a little bit here, or a little bit here, it's really hard to know where the center is. So the only way to know where your true center is to anchor these two rings to the side over here. Okay, so that's why they put them there. And the other important thing is to make sure that you're focusing on your front sight when you're shooting. So what's going to happen is you're focusing on your front sight post, and the ghost ring in the back is basically going to ghost out. That's why they call it a ghost ring. So you're really not going to see it. It's going to appear very blurry or kind of hazy. And then your target in the distance is also going to appear blurry, okay? Because your eyes can only focus on one thing at a time, and there's three things that we're looking at here. We're looking at you got the rear sight, you got the front sight post, and you have the target in the distance. So your eyes can't focus on all three things at once. So what we want to do is we want to focus on this front sight post, okay? And then that rear ghost ring is going to ghost out, right? That's going to kind of fade away, and then your target at a distance is going to appear blurry. You have to get comfortable with that concept of the target being blurry. Okay, now for me it's really easy because my age, my eyes aren't all that great. So to me, all three of them look blurry. The front sight post, looks a little bit more clear. I mean, even with prescription glasses, at distance things look a little bit blurry to me. But that doesn't make a difference. Because even with my eyes, get another, get this out. Again, everything is soaked here, so I just shot this a little while ago. Now with the small aperture, right? Because on the AR you got the small aperture, the small circle, and you got the big circle. Using the small circle at 50 yards, I was able to get a 1/2 inch grouping over here. Okay, that's with the small circle. Okay, at 50 yards, and with the big aperture. Basically, I got about a 3.5 inch grouping. I got 1, 2, and 3 here. So again, still hitting center mass. I mean, obviously with the smaller circle, I'm going to be more accurate. But the larger circle is meant for fast target acquisition. But still at 50 yards, I can hit center mass. I mean, there's only a 3.5 inch grouping there. And if I work at this, I can probably get this a lot tighter. So the what I'm suggesting is, I know everybody these days likes to shoot with red dots, and we tend to think of the iron sights as backups. Me particularly, I always like having iron sights, because if I change the red dot, I'm able to use my iron sights to quickly zero in my my red dot. So that's one of the reasons I love having iron sights that are co-witness to the red dot. But beyond that, we want to be able to really use these iron sights if we ever need to. The reason why this came up today is because earlier today, at a different location, I was training a young lady who was in the military. Okay, now she's already been in for, I think she said 2 years, and she was she was coming up for a renewal. And she does digital stuff, so she does communications. I don't remember the exact details, but but she does IT, I think she said. But she does computers and communications. So she's not a shooter. So she went through her basic. She did her qualification, 2 years ago. She said she had to go through it 3 times to pass. Great, she passed it. But now 2 years later, she's got to do it again, and she basically wanted a little practice. So we got together. We went to a range where we had some, to a good range where we had some distance, and we could lay in a prone position, and all that stuff. What I saw is that, first we were using this gun, right? And first of all, I knew the gun was zeroed because I had a co-witness between the red dot iron sights. And what I did is I then turned off the red dot, just using the iron sights. I was able to get a nice tight group at about 50 yards. So then, it's her turn. I say, okay, why don't you try out? Let me see what you can do. And basically, she's hitting about 2 feet high. And I'm like, wait, how's this happening? I mean, this girl, she shot before. She knows how to shoot. How can she be 2 feet off? And the reason is because, her concept of where the front sight post is in the center of the ghost ring was different from where my concept is. Because she was not using the leaves over here, to get to the center. So she thought that the front sight post was in the center, when in fact it was not in the center. Okay, so that's why these leaves here on the side are very important. You need to use these when you're using your when you're using the iron sights. I quickly figured out what the issue is. We corrected, and then we were able to work on other things. And I was able to get her shooting a nice tight grouping. But that was the main issue, that she, because she told me that she always had problems shooting, but she was never aware of this concept of anchoring these rings. I'm sorry, these leaves. Yeah, sorry, you have to pardon the wet paper because. Nobody told her that she needed to anchor these leaves to the side of the ring here. So that meant that every time she looked through that ghost ring and she tried to find the center, she was never consistently in the same spot in the center. So this is an important factor. In using an AR-15, you have to use those leaves to figure out where your center is. That said, we were using this Palmetto today. This gun does great, very similar to what she uses in the military. Basically, as you can see from the groupings that we got here, at 50 yards, a half-inch grouping, with a small aperture. When we went to the big aperture, it opened up a little bit, but gun's definitely capable of hitting a half-inch group at 50 yards. $350 gun. I've got like a $100 Adderball red dot on it, and this rear sight I think cost me like $20 or $30 on Amazon. So as long as you Loctite this in place, it works great. Did the job. It gets nice tight groupings. So you really don't have to go expensive to get a good gun. I'm a big fan of having lots of cheap guns. Now I don't mean lots of garbage guns or lots of junk guns. Lots of good guns that will do the job. By all means, have one or two, expensive high-end guns. But having lots of cheap quality guns like this Palmetto, definitely gives you an advantage in a shit hit the fan type of situation. Because first of all, I can hide lots of guns in lots of different places. In any shit hit the fan type of situation, you have to anticipate that some of your guns will be lost in combat. Or as you're moving from location to location, or you may have to arm and supply other people. Okay, particularly family members who may not have taken the same preparations that you have. It's always better to have more people shooting than trying to shoot by yourself against against whatever the threat is. I'm loving this palmetto. I mean, I've done several videos on it. Highly recommend it. I mean, today it's, you know, earlier it was absolutely pouring. You know, the gun works great. I've shot this gun through snow, through freezing weather. Very good gun, works well. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it. If you're not a member of my channel, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.